Hello, everybody. I'm Erica Lukes, and this is UFO Classified. I want to thank everybody from all over the world who is tuning into my show this evening. And it's been a few weeks since I've been here. I want to just tell those of you who have always seen Mufasa, my cute little kitty, with me, my little sidekick, that he has departed this earth, which is a very sad thing. I know all of you loved him, as did I, but we will always remember his lovely cameo appearances. I want to make sure that you click like and subscribe. Make sure you share information about the show, and also go to expandingfrontiersresearch.org to check out the work that Jack Brewer and I were both doing. And we've got some fascinating stuff coming out through the Freedom of Information Act, through grammar requests that we've done about Skinwalker Ranch, and all sorts of good stuff. So check it out. And hello, everybody. Rachel, Jim, Amy, it's great to see all of you guys. Steve, thank you for being here and supporting the show. As all of you who followed my show over the years, you know that I've gone from somebody that, was basically going down a few rabbit holes. And I tended to believe things 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that I have now learned through the School of Hard Knocks are not necessarily, they're actually not, none of them are based in fact. And I've learned how to become a critical thinker. I've learned how to make informed decisions, and to use, to use people that are trusted sources of information to learn and make sure that I'm grounded in fact. Right now, as all of us know, we're living in a world where we're getting information that is not based in fact, and we don't have people that are capable of critical thinking, to be quite honest. And so now more than ever, learning from our guest tonight about how to critically think and about how to approach people who might be interested in conning people, and using a grief vampire is a great thing that we're going to talk a little bit tonight with Susan about, but people that prey upon vulnerable populations. And to me, that's a big thing that I've been quite upset about for a long time, as you know, because it's never okay to use somebody's pain and grief to take advantage of them in situations. And so I want to just welcome Susan Gerbic here tonight. And she is a guerrilla skeptic. She's done amazing things over the years. And Susan, welcome to the show. And just, if you don't mind, for people that don't know all about you, I want you to describe a little bit about your background, and then how you came to the conclusion that you wanted to be such an activist to make sure people had factual information.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't think I'm that interesting, but okay, Erica, let's see. I'm more of a people kind of person. So anything I do evolves around people. And I'm also a social historian. Well, my degree is in social history. I've never used it for anything. I'm also a baby photographer from JCPenney's for 34 years, which actually says a lot about how is working with people and working with vulnerable children. And so I just was one of these kind of people who found a Skeptical Inquirer magazine years and years ago. And I opened it up and said, "Oh, come on, nobody believes this nonsense. This is ridiculous." And then as I got further into the magazine, I said, "Wait, that's not real?" So, I mean, I was raised pretty credulous, pretty gullible myself. And I just started getting involved because I'm a people person. I really like people. I started going to conferences, the James Randi Educational Foundation, the JREF, and then also the conference is called PsyCon, which is the Center for Inquiry, and then just kept staying interested and, hanging out with people. Then it was a forum. Back in the day before we had Facebook, I don't know if anybody remembers those days, but we had a forum, and it was a JREF forum, James Randi Educational Forum. And then I met up with a man on the forum whose name was Robert Lancaster. And he was a computer programmer that started researching the psychic Sylvia Brown.
Oh,
Back in the day, you guys might not have heard Sylvia Brown, but she was
I
the
did.
big
Yeah.
dog back then. She was on Montel Williams' daytime TV show all the time. She was on Larry King. So she was the big one. And James Randi was always after her too. And so what ends up happening is I followed the world of Robert Lancaster, this very nice, quiet, polite man who would document everything with facts. He would get the transcripts of old shows where she had made a claim about a psychic, that somebody had died or was alive or whatever. And he'd look at the transcripts and he would go through it very kindly and document it, and found that she was wrong almost all the time. And she'd made some egregious, very painful, awful errors. And I liked his style. I liked how he spoke to people. He was kind and didn't belittle them. And I kind of think that I follow in his footsteps more than I probably do James Randi, except that I do put on psychic stings. And as I got more involved in the skeptic community, which there is a community, and I wanted to do more. I wanted to be somebody who had um, more action and less just reading about things and just. So I was much more active. And then I came across this idea of doing Wikipedia articles from a friend of mine who was named Tim Farley. He was always trying to get people to do stuff. And he started talking about why Wikipedia is a really good idea to probably make sure is accurate, because it's going to be very important in the future. And the rules of Wikipedia are the rules of skepticism. You have to have really good citations to back everything up. Those citations need to be good, strong citations. Things need to be written kind of neutrally, but factual. No, you can't put just nonsense in. It has to go with the scientific consensus. And so I started posting on newly Facebook saying, hey, I've been working on this Wikipedia thing. And people started joining me. So I had to come up with a name and training program and so on. So now I have over 100 people working with me in a private Facebook group. You cannot join unless you are vetted and put in. And it's called the Secret Cabal. And we
I
do our
like
own
it.
training. We're the only Wikipedia team that I know of. Certainly the only Wikipedia team that is self-trained and is operating off of Wikipedia. We're on Facebook because I find it socially easy to manage.
Mhm.
On Wikipedia, everything has to be public. And I've come into a lot of flack for the work we've done by the UFO community, who thinks I'm hiding everything, which
Right.
is just hilarious. And yeah, so I guess that's enough.
And there's so
What else
much
do I know?
there, and I followed you for a long time, and I've seen the way that the UFO community has come at you.
Mhm.
And I mean, honestly, the UFO community, quote unquote, whatever you want to call it, trolls on UFO Twitter and things that have just been relentless with a lot of people, but you have been really, really targeted, and it's been quite just amazing and alarming and disgusting. You're probably used, you can let things roll off your back and you know how to handle yourself. But I've been a target of that over the years. And it's just like, really, first of all, who are you, anonymous person
Yes, the big
behind all of these, claims and threats that you're making? But I mean, who do you know if there has it been a group of lone actors, or has there been a concerted effort with people behind the scenes that have wanted to come at you to discredit what you're doing?
both. It's both. And this isn't my first rodeo. Erica might sound a little flippant. I think it's ridiculous. I can't believe anybody is targeting me. And some days I say I can't believe that the UFO community is coming at me. They're totally clueless. They don't know what they're talking about. And but then I also think, why the UFO community? Whenever I have done more to expose anti-vaccine people and more to give knowledge about vaccines and help, and plus also the anti-cancer community, who not anti-cancer, anti these quacks that
Right.
promote cancer products and stuff like that are really after vulnerable people. Why are they not attacking me? I mean, it's the UFO community, after the very little I've done to talk about UFOs, which is not even my main subject. It's not even my main interest. I mean, psychics. I mean, where are they? Why are they not attacking me?
Right.
It's because they know that I'm right. And I think that's what's going on. The UFO community, I think it's just a lot of them are trolls. And
Right.
so they're just attacking because they're trolls.
Yeah, I mean, and I would agree. There are a lot of trolls, and again, it's like these faceless, nameless people
Mhm.
that are, to me, there are definitely some people involved that have money or that have a reason to promote conspiracy theories, but it is very curious to me that it would be the UFO community that's coming at you so hard
Yeah.
when, yeah, you've just mentioned all these other things that you're taking on, and that is curious, but that's a UFO people or whatever they are, it's a tough crowd.
Well, you know what, Erica? I think a lot of it has to do because I'm a woman, and you probably realize this too. We're attacked differently than we would be if we
Right.
had been a man. And in the world of pseudoscience is gendered. So you've got in the psychic world, almost all the victims are female, almost all the psychic medium world. And also in the world, but of the world of UFOs, it's almost all male. So to have a woman entering into their space, they don't really quite know what to do with that. And then a woman of power, a person who's running an organization, a person who is, a fellow of one of the most powerful uh, think tank kind of in the skeptic community. Um, I've received numerous awards, especially from the James Randi Educational Foundation and the Center for Inquiry. I'm a fellow of the German Skeptics. I think they're very intimidated by that. And plus, I'm older. I don't care, that much. I've raised boys, and they're wonderful men. And so I just don't think I have a lot of invested where that they can harm me, and I don't get embarrassed easily. So, I mean, they put up pictures of me wearing like a tinfoil hat on Twitter, and no,
Ooh,
seriously, I'm the one who uploaded that picture in the first place of me wearing a tinfoil hat, and they share it as if it's like a big deal. I've had people say stuff about me riding a Harley, like, really, that's a big deal? Like, that's an insult? They were
wow.
trying to insult me, and then they say, "Oh, well, she's only a baby photographer." Oh, yeah, okay, well, you try it, sister, brother, for a few years and see what you
Right,
think.
brother living in your mama's basement.
Yeah, I'm I was in my 50s when I was able to retire, so you tell me what life is like, you know, with with your career. You retired? You have a house in California? Okay, I don't think so.
Right.
So I think they're very intimidated, and they just don't know what to do with me because I really just don't care. I mean, I've been attacked by people with much more cojones than they have. I mean, these are little nothings in the world of pseudoscience compared to what I have had to deal with people who are, like I say, in other areas. We used to spend a lot of time on the Brzezinski Clinic, which is a cancer clinic in Houston that is absolutely um, just horrible what they're doing to people who have stage 4 cancer, especially children and people who have brain cancer. They're charging them 13, I think it's $13,000 or 1300 no, $1,300 for to go in and be consulted on their cancer. And what? $1,300 just for a consultant fee? So, I mean, those people are just some of the worst. And I did that for years working on the Brzezinski, exposing Brzezinski and all the other things that were going on. I was reported to the FBI. I mean,
Wow.
seriously, this UFO troll thing it makes me laugh, to be honest with you. And I'm frustrated because I don't know anybody who's doing more to protect the folklore, the stories of UFO than I and a few other people who are on Wikipedia trying to protect these Wikipedia articles, and they're making it into a joke, like with little green men, and you're like, seriously, come on, you guys.
It's a very interesting world, and had I known, I mean, I'm fascinated in the topic. Jack and I have done some amazing work together doing FOIA requests and digging into things, and I mean, the history of the subject is very it's fascinating, and
Mhm,
it deserves to be preserved. And
mhm.
for me, I want people to learn from some of these things and to understand that there are groups of people, in the United States and other countries that have a network of people that are grifting and promoting the same story, the same tired story. Oh, let's look back 50 years and resurrect this story, and just, and
Exactly.
there's nothing to it, but yet they recruit younger people who now they've got these people that are eager to get out there and promote this nonsense. And I understand how appealing that could be to people. It's I mean, at least for a minute, but it's also to me like it's very dangerous. And
Right.
people go down these rabbit holes, and the next thing you're believing, you're distrusting the government, which right now might be okay, but you go down these,
Anti-vaccine,
you know,
anti
yep,
antiviral medicines, I mean,
right,
medicines, I mean, just it's just silly, but they do, and it's really sad because I think of myself as a consumer, consumer protection, because if you are gonna go do this thing, I think that you should have some way of, getting your money back if it doesn't work, or some kind of protection, consumer protection. I mean, if you're gonna go buy a miracle drug, there should be some sort of, you should be able to look at the science behind it. It should have been evaluated by something, some agency. I hate, like you, I'm saying the same thing about the government, in the past. But, no, they say, "No, we should everything should go." I read this testimonial by somebody on the internet, or we're trying to save lives, we're trying to save money, trying to save heartache, we're trying to save a lot of that kind of stuff, and to be attacked for having the best interests of people,
right,
especially vulnerable people who are in very bad shape. A lot of these people on UFO Twitter are not well. They're mentally not well. There are a lot of military people, a lot of ex-police officers, and people who are in authority positions, and they have, PTSD and all kinds of things. I want the best for those people. I think we should be protecting them,
right,
and we should be making sure they're getting the best healthcare possible. But they're being exploited by some of the other people with agendas who want the money for and the fame, and so on. And to me, it's sad. I've got your best interests at heart. You know, if you can't see that, I'm sorry, but there's nothing else I can do about that except that I can point it out. But the same thing's happening in the psychic world. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad for these women. It's every day I see videos of these people being absolutely manipulated. Their grief is just right there. It's like seconds away, and they're bawling, and it's just like their children have been dead for just a few months, and they've got this grief vampire over on here on the other side that is just latching onto them and telling them, "Oh, your son, he's right there. He's on the other side. Get another reading for me, and we ran out of time, and oh, and this your husband's here, and he's telling you, don't sell the house." It's like they're giving they're giving medical advice to these people. It's disgusting what happens to these people, but they're victims. They're in a very vulnerable point in their life. I mean, I can't imagine how much more vulnerable you can be when you have a child that has just recently died, or you feel alone because your family is, your husband and your parents and your child has died, and you want to reach out for some kind of community, and you're talking to this person who says they're talking to your husband. I've got videos all over my channel where these people are just they're like, "Oh, thank you. I'm so alone. I don't know what to do." And they're crying, and it's just so vulnerable. And the psychic is just like, "Yeah, your husband's in the kitchen right now. He's eating ice cream." And it's like, "You make me sick. How can you talk to people like that?" Oh, it's anyway,
No,
getting
I
off
mean,
my soapbox.
it's true, and I wanna go back to, like, you mentioned Sylvia Brown, and, I remember, like, the talk shows and Oprah Winfrey and, I mean, all of Sally Jessy Raphael and,
Mhm.
all of these people that and Montel Williams, I could go on and on because that was when I was in my prime, but well, I am now, actually,
Oh,
who am
you're
I
still in
kidding?
your prime, Erica. Give me a
Oh,
break.
thank you. That's right. But, you know, I mean, it was just like growing up and watching that and watching them bring on people that were promoting,
Mhm.
alien abductions. I remember the Shirley MacLaine stuff, and
Oh,
then you
yeah.
have Ramtha, which, you know, Jack and I
Oh,
have
yeah.
done.
Oh my gosh, you're taking me back.
Yeah, I mean, just Jack has done such great work on Ramtha, and, you know, we've got all of these police records that are just off the chart about what they've done at that compound and the mess that they're involved with. But, you know, you go back and you look at some of these prime figures who literally just promoted all of this stuff, and none of them have truly been, you know, Oprah's still out there bopping around, making billions of dollars and, you know,
We
living the
should
high
hold her
life.
accountable. She's given us the most amazing nonsense. I can't
Right.
even. Oh, Oprah, good gracious.
I know. Oprah going on your little space trip with, you know, on the little what was she with, Jeff Bezos with the oh my gosh, when
Oh,
they were
yeah,
up in the
the
little
up in
space
space and
capsule. I mean,
down,
that
yeah.
was Gayle King, but Oprah might as well go too, so
Yeah, send Oprah too. She just wants them out they want the matching outfits they have, you know.
it's so cute. It's very cute. But, you know, I mean, I for a long time, I mean, I mean, I thought that was very curious because you're listening to this and these people are very adept at, you know, tuning into to that grief. And as you've done such great work doing these little stings, you know, where you're setting up people and you've got, you know, you're creating these Facebook profiles and
Mhm.
then you're going in and really you know, understanding the way that these people are very skilled at manipulating people that are experiencing tragedy and loss. And so tell us a little bit about how you go about getting involved with these people and then the work that you do to take some of these grief, you know, people that are grief vampires on.
Well, gosh, I think I've done about 10 stings over the years. We started and they all start with the word operation, and they all have a stupid sounding, silly name after that, usually food related. I most recently finished 2 stings. One of them is called Operation Banana Cream Pie, and that was where I sent in 6 people to buy out a small group reading from a woman who is hot reading. Hot reading is very rare in the world of psychic mediums. And what that means is they go in hot. They have some information about you. It could be just a little bit. It could be you've had a reading with them previously and they have information about you. Or you were recommended by a friend of theirs who's also gotten readings. Those are hot reading
Okay.
tactics. So this woman, her name is Suzanne Wilson. She is uh, part of a organization called Helping Parents Heal. And this organization I've got targeted because I find they're well-meaning people. These are people who have lost their children, or they have sister organizations like for siblings and helping siblings heal or something like that. But what they do is they bring in mediums to talk to the dead loved ones of their family. They believe in therapy, at least they purport to say they believe in traditional, licensed therapy, but they also believe in a life after death where you can have a medium talk to your dead child, and it keeps these people in a kind of a perpetual grief cycle. They're not able to really move through the stages of grief, which grief is just a bear. I mean, it's awful and it's different for each person, I guess. But when you have a mother who's coming in, and then you've got this medium who's just making jokes about, "Oh, your daughter, she's right there. She's telling me she likes what you had for dinner tonight. And oh, she likes how you're doing your hair now. And she's watching over you and she can't wait for you to get there. Heaven's gonna be great. But yeah, not too soon, take your time." And it doesn't allow people to really get through the cycle right. Anyway, so this organization, Helping Parents Heal, has been supporting this woman. They got lots of mediums, but this one is a hot reader, and I know she's hot reading because I've seen her videos and they're up on my YouTube channel, Psychics Explained, and you can see them on the video where she is just she they're on Facebook, right? The group is fairly active on Facebook from what I can see. I'm not in their group because I don't have a child who's died, and I'm not going to infiltrate their group. But this woman was pointed out to me as a hot reader, Suzanne, and she is like giving a reading to this woman. I have the video up on my channel, and she is within a minute or so, because I can see the woman's name on Zoom, of the woman who's really getting read, and I just go to Facebook, and there's all her personal identification about her daughter, and on and on. And at one point, the psychic is telling the mother, I'm getting something about cowboy hats. Like her friend is wearing a cowboy hat. It's after her death, and your daughter's talking about this cowboy hat and a photo of her. And the mother says, oh, I just put up some pictures just like recently of the family getting together. They all had cowboy hats, matching cowboy hats, and we went to this event. And the psychic's, oh no, I don't think it has anything to do with Facebook, or like playing it off, because she's hot reading. I found the information in like 2 minutes. Anyway, so we bought out a reading. I sent 6 skeptics in who do not know each other well or at all, and I gave them fake information, and we were going to get a reading from this woman, Suzanne, paid $1,400, and we were going to expose the fact that she was hot reading information I put up on a Facebook page about one of the people in the 6-person reading. And so the psychic comes in and decides she's not going to do the readings for us. She smelled a rat, and she should, because it was, I mean, I learned a lot doing that she was not actually a big deal. And for somebody to buy a $1,400 reading from her with 6 people that all, like, are supposedly from the same family, because the 6 people were all siblings.
Wow.
That was so unusual to her. And that I had to use Visa gift cards, because she usually uses cash apps like PayPal or Venmo. So, and she usually has return clients. So to have some stranger come in willing to pay $1,400 at a drop of a hat, no big deal. The money came from James Randi, by the way, his educational foundation. And I had to tag her. I had a Facebook page that was one of my Facebook pages that has been around for years. So it doesn't look like a brand new person or anything like that. It's an old Facebook page. We've used it for multiple stings. And on that Facebook page, it has things that we would consider bait, things that were like, I saw my uncle, I had a dream about my uncle last week, and I haven't seen him, and, he died in 2021 or something. And, just little stories. Plus I told stories about work that day. And, I ran into an old friend, things that were normal, how I twisted my ankle. And so what happened is I had to tag the psychic on that Facebook page, because I needed her to get from the reading she was going to do for us to the Facebook page so she can see the bait. And the 6 people I bought the reading for had not seen, they didn't know anything that was on that Facebook page. They had no access to it. And I've had some criticism about it, because people tell me you shouldn't have tagged her. But there was no way the psychic could have gotten the bait, because the psychic only knew my name was Joanne. So how are you going to find a person named Joanne on Facebook without knowing who she is, what she looks like, where she's from? So I had to tag her, and I did. I said, I'm getting a reading from this psychic I haven't had a reading from. And my friend said, oh, who is it? And I did this over 3 days. I wanted it to be very slow and precise. And I waited till the 3rd day, and I said, oh, her name is Suzanne Wilson. And I tagged her. And so the psychic came in, and she saw the tag, and then she saw, as she looked into the Facebook page, that there was some interesting information that had to do with the dead family members that I would have liked to have contacted. Joanne would have. And the woman smelled a rat. That on top of all the other things that, like, I had to use Visa gift cards, because obviously I can't use my own name to buy something. And buying a 6-person reading. I talked to her office manager, and she said, to arrange this, the office manager said, oh, this is very unusual. We don't do 6-person readings with everybody in the same family. It's usually friends. And so anyway, she backed out. I have all that video. It's up on my channel, my Psychics Explain channel. So that's Operation Banana Cream Pie. Though I was able to release all the information about her hot reading. So it's all out there. So, and I learned a lot. And then I also did during October, November, and December, I did a sting called Operation Gobble Gotcha, which
I love
is
it.
a psychic named Matt Frazier, who is very, well, they're not all, they're not really that popular, but in the world of psychic mediums, he had a TV show called Meet the Frasers, and in that world, he had some fame. And anyway, so I brought about 30 women together, and we had attended three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, about nine of his gallery readings. And those gallery readings are, large groups, lots of people. And he will pick nine people out of all the people that are there, and he does a reading for them. And I've taped them all, and we found a pattern. He is cold reading, which is common. And we also found out that there's 1,500 people on some of these calls, and he's getting $22 a person. So
Wow.
he was in one night, he made $33,000, and he was there for an hour and a half. $33,000, and that's almost all profit.
Oh
So,
my
um,
God.
is he reporting it? I don't know. But it was an interesting thing because what we were trying to do is trying to become one of the readings. And we got real close multiple times where they select people to get a reading. You have to, like, the Zoom screen comes up and it has a little notification. It says, click here if you'd like to get a reading. And you go into a waiting area where there's like 12 people. So we had about 5 people over a period of time got into that waiting room, but they didn't get selected because there was only 9 readings done. And, the odds are not our favor, but we got close. And the psychic doesn't know my people from anybody else. So we would have gotten the reading, and my people were all trained on how to handle the readings. So we would have exposed him as a cold reader, but we just didn't get caught. I mean, called on, but we got really close, and we may still continue doing it. He's doing readings this weekend. So, 33 grand. Can you imagine? He did 3 days. He did a Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. He did the Saturday after Thanksgiving and the Sunday after Thanksgiving. That's like 100 grand. Can you believe it? And he only did a 90-minute set.
Oh well, I mean, Jack, what do you I bet you're just blown away like I am. I mean, but you and I see the same thing in the UFO crowd, like with the Corey Goods and David Wilcox and some of these, people in the UFO community that have these psychic trainings, or, they do let's figure out if you're a super soldier and things like that. I mean, Jack, what is that? When you hear that, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a little reminiscent of what's the guy's name? The doctor from Asheville, North Carolina, that takes people out in the desert to see
Oh,
UFO.
Stephen Greer,
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Biceps. Yeah, he's
It's
he's a hot one.
I got to check him out.
Oh Lord, be afraid. Get a good therapist. Perhaps medication.
We have a town here in Central Florida called Casadega that is it consists of self-described psychics and mediums and practitioners of various esoteric traditions. And it is sad that some kind of religious or social belief is virtually inseparable from just hang a shingle and give me some money and I'll basically give you a horoscope reading.
Mm-hmm.
And as Susan is pointing out, it gets increasingly predatorial when it's about grief or healthcare recommendations, job recommendations, things like that. Yeah, yeah. I was wondering, could we break down, please, a little more about how it worked with the UFO community? That, as I understand it, Susan, you and your associates volunteer with Wikipedia, and you you review posts to check them for proper citations. And then if I claim that Mick Jagger is from Venus, then you're going to have a citation for that or edit it out, something to that effect. And as I understand it, when members of the UFO community could not offer citations for some of their assertions about some famous UFO personalities and cases, they accused you, ironically, of censorship. Is that correct?
Well, it's a little more complicated than that, Jack. So I don't know how in depth you want me to get, but what's going on with UFO Twitter and UFO articles is that I am probably the only one of my editors who's ever had any interaction with UFOs on Wikipedia. I have a team, like I said, there's 100 people or so. They're working on topics that interest them. And most of the time, they're not working at all. We're all volunteers. No one's paid. We don't work for Wikipedia. We're just average people like everybody else that has decided that having a very strong, well-written, well-cited Wikipedia is a good idea for the citizens of the world. And so almost all the edits that happen on Wikipedia, I have nothing to do with. And most people, like if somebody comes to a Wikipedia page and they write vandalism on it, which would be like saying Mick Jagger is from the planet Venus, that would be considered vandalism. And the people who are doing that kind of thing are almost all just trolls, kids or people who are thinking they're funny. And that vandalism is removed in usually seconds by robots. They're called, bots on Wikipedia. So Wikipedia has a team of bots that does almost all of the removals. It handles almost everything. And so if somebody comes in and tries to put a bad word on a Wikipedia page, then it's gone right away. So almost all of the things that you're kind of referring to, I never see, nobody sees, it's gone within seconds because it's considered vandalism. What we have done with my Wikipedia editing team, called the Guerrilla Skeptics on Wikipedia, is I train people how to edit Wikipedia broadly, how to handle photographs, how to handle audio, how to find a citation, how to use a citation, how to cite it correctly, how to write as neutrally as you possibly can with what is allowed, what's not. The rules are really esoteric. It's very difficult. And I don't know how an average person can just come in and edit Wikipedia and think they know what they're doing. It's very difficult. The rules are even difficult to explain. And depending on what the topic is, if we're talking UFOs, that's considered a fringe topic. And fringe topics have different rules than a biography does. And a biography has different rules if it's a living person or if it's a dead person. If the person is an athlete, or if they're like a scientist or a professor, they have different rules than if they're a author or a average person, like a crime victim. So there's so many rules. It's confusing. So what happened with the Wikipedia articles is that I had made I had taken a valid source and I had used it on a Wikipedia article about Ross Coulthart, who's the Australian reporter who's very prominent in their community. And I used a citation and put it on the Wikipedia article, which was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. The source I used was fine. What I said was fine. I use my real name everywhere. Like Erica says, these people who hide behind their faceless, nameless troll accounts calling themselves UAP, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, grow up. If you can't say it with your face and your name, then you probably should go back to crawling under a rock somewhere. I have no sympathy for these people who hide behind their names. And I think we'd have a better world if we people had to say, with accountability who they were
Absolutely.
within, some areas, of course, but crime victims and such.
Mhm.
But the people on the internet who say this kind of stuff with hiding behind it are cowards, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, so I edit under a Wikipedia name called S. Gerbic. Go figure. All edits on Wikipedia are transparent. You can click on my name right now and you can see every edit I have ever done since the beginning of my career at Wikipedia. Career meaning just my time, not I don't work for them, since like 2008. And these people do not know how to do this. And so every time there's an edit that they don't approve of on Wikipedia, they blame me. And because they don't know who's on my team, they blame the team, even though nobody knows what they're talking about. I'd never heard of most of these people, and neither had my team. But what happened with Ross Coulthart is all of a sudden, and I don't know how this happens, but they get into the news somehow. And editors on Wikipedia, and there's thousands of them, decided, oh, I think we should clean up Ross Coulthart's Wikipedia page. The award section is in the wrong place. It's supposed to actually be down here further, and this section should be up here. It was wrong. It was like, not formatted correctly by Wikipedia standards. And then this had too much of a glowing kind of thing to it. They were praising him too much, and this should be removed because that citation isn't good, and that kind of thing. So what happens when there's a lot of people who want to fix a page at once? It becomes it's like a feeding frenzy, because you got somebody coming in and they're making a change, and somebody else is like, no, I was thinking about that, I want to be over here, and then they start reverting each other's edits, and it becomes a mess. I just made one edit and walked away. And then, but because my name is S. Gerbic, they know who that is. They looked me up, and I run this secret Wikipedia team with a secret cabal, and we're funded in part by the James Randi Educational Foundation. Oh my gosh, the FBI must know about me and bring me in a RICO case. And it's so
Oh
stupid.
my
The
god.
conspiracies they have about me are silly. Oh my God, she rides a Harley, or I did, and I wear a tinfoil hat on as a joke. It's just, and I'm a woman, Lord
Right.
forbid. So anyway, so what happens is everything got blamed to me. But the Ross Coulthart page was rewritten eventually correctly, as well as all these other articles, from all these other folklore hero kind of types from the UFO community. They took the article, and it was a stub, like 2 or 3 paragraphs, and it wasn't up to date. There was no photograph. It was not a well-written Wikipedia page. It had mostly been abandoned. Gets a couple hundred views a month or something. And these editors on Wikipedia, not my team, came in and cleaned it up, added stuff, put a photograph, made it respectful, and made it factual, and they lost their mind. The UFO Twitter lost their mind. They said there's just no way that we can't be doing this, because one editor on Wikipedia, and I don't know who this is. I mean, I know his name, but I don't know him. He's an admin. I figured out what he does is he comes into these articles that are old stubs that are just abandoned, and he puts them up for deletion. And when you put them up for deletion, what happens is all of a sudden people descend on the page going, oh, I don't think this should be deleted. And then they go in and they start bringing articles in, and they start cleaning it up. They add photographs. They just make it really neat. And then now it's not up for deletion anymore. But that's what this one editor is doing. He puts them up for deletion, knowing full well they're not going to get deleted. But it's like a whole group of people from all over the Wikipedia world all of a sudden say, we better get this fixed up. And the people who are fixing it up are skeptics and historians and people who care about the story and the person. And the people on UFO Twitter are just, like I said, they're not doing anything but just trolling and how dare you put this up for deletion. You're like, there's strategy involved in this.
Sure.
Anyway, that's what's going on. I'm sorry, that's a long-winded way to
No, thank
explain it,
you.
but I don't really know what people know. And I've got the chat open over here, and I see there's people here chatting. I have no idea what you're saying because I'm not looking at your chat, but hopefully if there's somebody has something to say to me, please tell me.
Yeah, and actually, I just want to go back really quickly because Amy wanted me to ask you something. Let me just go back really quickly,
I'm
Amy.
happy to answer questions.
Okay, hang on.
Must be probably a really new topic for a lot of people.
Amy said, is it true that line for line Wikipedia is as accurate as the Encyclopedia Britannica?
It's more, far more, Amy. And that's because we're using, well, no, okay, I should say in general, because somebody could come into a Wikipedia page. Amy, you could go right now without an account and you could change Wikipedia article right now, any random page, and you could put in some information that isn't factual, maybe not backed up by a citation, and possibly it won't get noticed for a while. So the article could be incorrect. If it's a page that is very trafficked, gone through a lot, then it's going to be more noticed, and the bots or other editors will revert it and they'll change your edit. So on a whole, a Wikipedia page over time is going to be far more accurate than Encyclopedia Britannica, because this is adjusted daily. Like we don't have to print it up or anything like that.
Wow.
And we're a diverse community. So we're not like, I think Encyclopedia Britannica, they had like one expert. So I kind of wonder about one expert's opinion about what should be on the page versus a team of people who have some interest in it are going to come in and they're going to make a better article, I think, because you're playing off each other's, you're like, no, I think we should say it like this, or, they'll have votes. On every Wikipedia page has a talk page. It's in the upper left-hand corner of every Wikipedia article. It says talk. And most people have never even noticed that. And on that talk page, you don't have to have an account. You can see a discussion with other editors about that Wikipedia page. This is where we let our hair down and we have a little more conversation about the article. And you can see discussions happening on there where people will say, I don't like how that's worded. I think we should use a different kind of phrase. And somebody says, well, suggest something, and they say, okay, let's try this. And they try out a sentence and everybody's going, well, I kind of don't know if I like that because it's not going to be lasting over time. Let's change this. And so they're having discussions about how to make the article better. And UFO Twitter doesn't get that. They don't know to click the talk page. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect. They all think they know what's going on, but they don't know what's going on. They don't have accounts. They don't understand, or they heard it from a friend of theirs, or I heard it from this guy who told me this thing about Wikipedia.
Yeah, therein lies a lot of the problem, I think, with the UFO topic in general. I follow the Press Freedom Foundation, and they recently were interested in Wikipedia. Wikipedia celebrated their 25th anniversary this month. And the Press Freedom Foundation was pointing out that it is freedom of speech and a free press that allows a format like Wikipedia to thrive in that kind of culture. And they were pointing out as well that what started back in the day, it was all the teachers were saying you can't use it, you can't cite it. And due to the volunteers like Susan and her team and others, it has become one of the more respected sources for fighting disinformation. And like anything, chase your footnotes, see what it says, and check the footnote and see if that's what the footnote actually says, and you should be okay. But thanks for walking us through that. And I interpret you've tried to build some bridges with people that are actually open to hearing you explain it. Like if they can stop telling you what you do long enough to listen to what you do, you've actually done some interviews with the UFO community and some of its people, right?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of them that are very open to it once you explain it to them. I mean, there's some people in the UFO community who are very I mean, they're skeptical and they're critical thinkers and they're good thinkers, but they do still believe in some sort of, I don't know, they're all on a spectrum, from little green men to, the government's covering up something. And I have had some good conversations with these people, and some of them have one man uploaded a photo for me from the Gulf Breeze, Florida. He uploaded a photograph for me because Wikipedia is very, very tight about its photographs and media. It has to be uploaded by the owner of the photograph. So he had a photo and he took it. Another man was giving me articles from like newspapers and things to help improve one of the articles on Wikipedia. So on UFO Twitter, actually, I've met some really awesome people who really care about the subject of UFOs and want to preserve the history and the folklore of it. Believe it or not, they might have started out as believers in space aliens, but now have become more like a person who's interested in the history of it. I find that area super interesting. Well, I'm a social historian, so how we believed, how we evolved our thought process about little green men or the Men in Black, or any of that. I think the psychology of it is just tells so much about us and the history. I was just in West Virginia, and I went to a library. We had a little conference there, and the library had the archives of the man who started the Men in Black phenomena. And this guy was like, he put out newsletters. His name is Gray Baker. You guys know who that is?
Oh, yes. In fact, we've done a bit of work on him, right, Jack?
So his in this library, it has all his archives, and it was fascinating looking at his stuff and how he was just some guy putting out a newsletter pretty much on photocopies, and he started the Men in Black phenomena and a lot of other things. Vegetable Man, and they have Vegetable Man conferences, festivals now. Mothman. I love all that stuff. It is super interesting. I don't believe that it's real, but I think the whole culture behind it and embracing the weirdness of Mothman and Bigfoot. I love that stuff, and I want to preserve it. I think we need to continue preserving our history because it's the history of our humans and humanness and people, and I love it. I love all that stuff.
I know, it is fascinating, and sorry, Jack, to cut you off. I know you've got something good to say, so
go ahead.
No, you go.
I just wanted to add that, a lot could be said about Gray Barker.
Oh, yeah. I heard those stories too.
One of the things is there is a niche of historians and writers that really appreciate his craft, the way he told stories and the way he advertised how his book was coming, and just the way he worked it all, that they think that is.
Whoa! I see. I love these action cams right now. Live going down.
Everybody goes, whoa.
There's a niche of writers and historians that really appreciate the way Gray Barker structured his writing. Yeah.
Fascinating. Fascinating man. Fascinating person.
And I just want to go back and just ask you, do you feel, because Steve wanted to kind of talk about this, do you feel that people have become more discerning and things are more optimistic, or are we kind of living in a time where disinformation and misinformation is out of control?
Wow, great question, Steve. Steve? Is that what you said?
Yep.
It's hard to say. Personally, I'm an optimist, believe it or not. But even I have low days where I cannot look at the news some days and not sleep well. I turn to murder mysteries, old Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple stuff, because I'd rather watch something like that than the news, because it's just too out there. But here's my thought. So when I was getting my BA in social and behavioral sciences, my key project, my capstone project, was on Sputnik and how the world changed after Sputnik got up in the sky. I mean, we all thought the Russians were just a bunch of losers and they didn't know anything, and they had dirt floors or whatever. And all of a sudden they've launched this thing in the air that's going beep, 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 beep. And the world went nuts because we thought it was mind control, or had cameras watching us, or it was going to leak a virus on us or something. But what happened was, in that moment, the United States suddenly said, we're way behind. If Russia has already launched this thing in space, we're just sitting around doing what? Combing our hair back and at the drive-in theaters and stuff like that. And we're not doing good science education. So my research was, what happened after Sputnik went up? And what happened was they threw money at science. My gosh, there was scholarships, and kids got in there and they were really taking science education and literacy and mathematics and all the essentials we need to have good students. And the world just changed. I interviewed lots of different people who had benefited from that reflection of that, and women in science too, and in academia and so on. So what happened is, it was like a pendulum had swung back, not from misinformation, but from a complacency that people had, thinking that, oh, we're just the world power, we're America, we're so awesome. So, Stephen, my thoughts now are, right now, since it's been a while, it's been a long time actually, we have embraced pseudoscience as equal to science in a lot of areas. The media has not been held accountable to, like the Oprah Winfrey's and so on out there, to bring this into our homes as if it's science or it's actual, like these ghost hunting shows, all of that. It's just misinformation as entertainment, but with a wink, wink, nod, nod that actually it's real. Celebrities, media, and influencers, if they were to shut down right now and stop parading out all this nonsense, pseudoscience like cupping. I mean, if these influencers stop showing their pictures of themselves getting cupping, I mean, give me a break. They're giving themselves hickeys. And so, I mean, that's all it is. And, homeopathy, if they suddenly sat down and said, oh no, we're science-minded now, but that doesn't make any sense, we would end a lot of this industry overnight. And if we were held these people to accountability, we would really, really make a difference. So I think what's been going on and the skeptic world and the science world is also responsible, because we have for a very long time just said, nobody really believes the earth is flat. I mean, give me a break. I mean, and pseudoscience like facilitated communication, which is those people whose hands are being held and all that nonsense. We thought that went away in the 1990s when we came out and said, this is not science, this is BS. Stop doing this. And the science world and the skeptic world just kind of turned their backs and walked away to go do other things. We still have horoscopes in the newspaper. My gosh. And we just got complacent again. And that's where I think we are now. And I mean, this administration now has, I think, and after COVID and the attacks on vaccines, I think right now, Stephen, we're living in a time that it might be 5 years, it might be 10 years, but we're going to see that pendulum shift back again. And we're going to see science being taken seriously. We won't have people trying to put the 10 commandments in the classrooms, and we won't have people on our, the health advisor, whatever it is, RFK Jr. is. That's going to be just insane. People are going to look back and go, I can't believe we lived like that. I mean, and when I was growing up, smoking was normal in restaurants.
Right.
You guys
in
remember
doctors'
that,
offices,
right?
doctors, you've
We
got pictures
sat
of
down.
doctors.
You would, and doctors, yeah, you're sitting at a meal at a restaurant, a crowded restaurant, and somebody pulls out a cigarette and they're smoking their cigarette right there at the table while other people are eating. That felt like, now looking back going, you got to be kidding me. No way would that happen. Oh,
Oops,
we
excuse
lost that.
me.
Where did everybody go? It's Susan all day, every day, Susan only.
Can you hear me, Susan?
Yeah, you guys disappeared. I'm like, I'm in charge now.
It's my bad.
It's the big tobacco that got rid of it.
They're shutting us down.
Yeah,
They're
yeah. The
out in
doors are
the,
closed.
on the
They're putting up
street, like right
signs
now.
saying, you guys, you got 5 minutes to the library is closing. But as I was,
Sorry.
I got
We'll
on a
blame
wrap
it on
up.
the Men in Black.
But that's
Not
what
my
yeah, the
skills.
Men in Black Thought Patrol. You guys out there in the chat, make sure you're not thinking bad thoughts, because that's what you guys did to us.
But
But
yeah,
my point is that we're in a different world. When I was growing up, you didn't wear a seatbelt. When I was growing up,
Right.
if Dad wanted to have a beer in the front seat of the car, go for it. He's got another one in the back seat of the car. What in the world? So that's what I think is going on. I think we're going to see a change, and in years from now, we're going to look back. Our grandchildren, I don't have any grandchildren, but somebody's grandchildren is going to look back and go, what in the world were you guys thinking? I mean, this is stupid.
It is so awkward.
Ghost hunting shows, Finding Bigfoot. How many episodes have we had of Finding Bigfoot and they've never found Bigfoot?
Yeah, the Curse of Oak Island, or all of these things. And I think
Skinwalker Ranch. Give me a break.
oh Lord, don't get me started on that. But I have to say that I think you're absolutely correct. Like, the media bears a lot of responsibility. And over the, past decade or so, we've seen, I mean, Fox News is a propaganda channel. It's state-run propaganda, or somebody's running it. And we haven't held people to account. And there are incredible journalists that are doing important work, but it's just the whole industry has just gone by the wayside. And as a result, we're promoting, these anti-vax conspiracy theories. I mean, just things that we never, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we never would have put these things forward and given it any credit. And we haven't held people, even in this administration, accountable for what's taking place with the measles right now, and how we've disassociated with, the World Health Organization and all of these things. And it's just like, what? I mean, we are really in deep, deep trouble here.
Yeah,
And
well, I think it'll change. I'm an optimist. Everybody else says I'm a Pollyanna and they think I should be ignored, but I really think so. And I think we need to set the structure up now. We need to find each other. We need to meet each other like we're doing right here. And hopefully your community is learning about the stuff I've done, and they go, oh, I didn't know anybody was doing this. I had no idea. They have conferences. What are you talking about? There's conferences, there's books, there's what? And I think that we have to start now. I mean, I've been thinking this for a long time. And with the work we're doing on Wikipedia, we've already written over 2,000 Wikipedia articles.
wow.
And those 2,000 articles are over 210 million views already. And we're writing in languages outside of English, because I'm not going there. Pseudoscience and nonsense is universal, and people should be able to read about it in the languages that they are comfortable reading. And Wikipedia is the source, because AI is pulling from Wikipedia articles, and you can't, and that's their training on. They're repeating to you what is on a Wikipedia article. And if you go to, if you do a search on the internet, oftentimes that search that comes up, the Google, well, on Google, it's called a new Google knowledge, anyway, it comes up with this little box that has a picture, and underneath they're quoting Wikipedia. And the link that's at the top of your search thing is because Wikipedia is the most viewed link. Wikipedia doesn't pay to have their link pulled up into the one of the top views recommended. That's there because it is one of the top viewed URLs. So I mean, if you go to Alexa or you go to Siri or anything like that and you ask a question, it's probably pulling from a Wikipedia article. there's no more important project than getting Wikipedia in shape. And my project, I think, is obviously the most important, because we're focusing on misinformation in an organized way, and we're trying to make sure that the people who are doing this are well trained and they have mentorship. So it isn't some lone person going in and just making changes. We talk about it with each other before a lot of this happens, but we're just a blip in the budget, a blip in the sea. I mean, 2,000 Wikipedia pages across all of Wikipedia, all the different languages, is seems like a lot, but really it's nothing. But nobody else is doing anything like that.
That is incredible. And thank you for that. That's a huge project, and something that that is so critical right now when you've just got the wild west out there. And I mean, we're now living in a country that thrives and takes great pleasure in misinformation and disinformation. And it's been weaponized,
Yeah,
obviously, to really do a lot of damage and divide our country and create the
yeah,
chaos that we're seeing right now.
absolutely.
And we're living in one of those times that I never personally would have thought that we'd be living through, but here we are. And like you mentioned, having that sense of community of
Mhm.
people from all over the country or the world that are saying this isn't going to happen, and we need to be educated and we need to move forward together in a cohesive fashion.
I think that the work in a lot of ways has to be its own reward, and that's why it's important. I appreciate Susan's optimism that, like, we're aware at Expanding Frontiers, Erica and I are aware we're not going to be the top search return on Google. We're not going to be the most read article over on this social media platform or that social media platform. But it's what I'd be doing anyway. Like, I'm researching what I'm interested in. I'm sharing it with people that share that interest with me. And it's just my thing. So I appreciate the optimism, and there's some integrity to that when you're doing it because it's what you're interested in and it's the right thing to do. And that's where the rubber hits the road with, are you trying to be an influencer and make your money from artificial clicks and things like that? Or are you actually interested in getting a topic right? By the way, I think it might have been you. It was certainly some of your associates, if not Susan. Back in the day, I was in touch with now the late Carol Rainey when the Bud Hopkins page updated. And,
Oh,
and
we
she,
wrote that, Bub Hopkins. But
yeah,
is that the guy who was a psychologist who believed in hypnotism, and not a
um,
psychologist, he was an artist.
he was an artist.
Yeah,
John,
one of my team wrote that. Yeah, she did
yeah.
a fabulous job on it too. She brought in a lot of his art and talked about him being an artist. And oh, Carol Rainey, yeah, that is way, way in the back of my mind. Yeah, I'm remembering this now. You're involved in that. That's interesting.
I knew her, and she was telling me about the process. Like, she was explaining
Oh,
what you were asking for and how it worked. And she was real pleased with how it was going. I thought you'd like to know, because one of her reasons she took an interest in it was some basically like worshipers of the alien abduction genre and the movers and shakers, like Bud was, were always writing. I think you described it earlier, about Cold Heart, that it'll be a little too flattering and hero like, and they'll, it'll be a really pro article instead
right.
of objective observation of what the man did and what he proved and what he did not prove. And she really appreciated that you took the reins from the followers and made it more objective. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. I haven't thought about that in a very long time, but Boy, I watched it get rewritten. It was bad. And then the editor who took it on, I watched her create that and we had long discussions. I finally told her she needed to stop because she was really getting into it and trying to put everything in it she possibly could. And I told her, put a fork in it, you're done. And you can't a Wikipedia page is not a book. You're not writing a novel or an article about something. This is not a biography. It's supposed to be a summation of the topic or the person or the place. And then go, as you said, go to the citations and at the bottom of the article and follow those if you want further information. Wikipedia is supposed to be an overview. It's a place to start your journey. It is not a place to get all your information from. And when the schools said you're not supposed to quote Wikipedia, well, nobody ever intended for anybody to quote Wikipedia. You were only supposed to use it as, gosh, I can't remember what year was that war, or who was that person? What were they famous for? And where did that person go to school? And are they dead? And, that kind of stuff. It was never intended to be something people quoted. Just like AI, it should be a guide. It should not be the end all be all. Yes, people abused it, but that doesn't mean it's going to go away. It's going to have to just stay in great shape, and somebody's got to be watching it. And my team is just a very small clog. Like I said, it's an organized group, whereas most of Wikipedia is just individual editors that are trying to do the best they can. And, they fail all the time, and some of them succeed, and some don't understand the rules really well. It's a hard, like I said, it's kind of a hard thing to explain, but it is not an easy topic. But somebody's got to do it, and we got to get this in shape because, as I said, that pendulum is going to come back, and we got to have the infrastructure in. We need to have organizations. We need to have podcasts and YouTube channels like yourselves out there who are going to be able to help these people when they finally come around. They leave TikTok or whatever, and they say, wait, who is this James Randi person? Oh my gosh. They find this pseudoscience right now as if, I see these people who are 30 and under who are just now finding out stuff, and they think, oh, this didn't exist before me. And you're like, no, there are long histories of other people who tried to do things, and we need to know their history and stand on their shoulders or learn from their mistakes and move on so we can be a better society. I don't think that I have great hopes. I really do. I believe that we're moving along. I think Steven Pinker said, that we're making improvements in life, and it might look like a lot of nonsense right now, but I think we're going to have a better society. Things are getting better. Yes, we can point to some of the horrible things that are happening, but as a whole, I think we're in a better place. And if only we could make it happen faster. And that's where I want to be. I want to be somebody helping. I don't want to be somebody complaining about it. I want to do it. I want to help. And I want to find people like-minded who can do this with me, because I can't do it all. I'm just there to say, hey, help me out.
That's incredible. And that's like, honestly, sometimes after watching the news, like you mentioned, you just think, okay, well, tonight let's watch a horror movie because that's going to be better than reality. Give me, let's watch some Freddy Krueger. Bring it on.
Yeah,
I'll be
seriously.
happy when I go to bed. But, that is really an optimistic message. And I think you're absolutely right. Like right now, we're kind of seeing what was going on behind the scenes for a long time, and things are coming to the surface.
Mhm.
And now we've got an ability to really, with people kind of standing up and forming these cohesive communities, we have an opportunity to really teach a younger generation all of these things, which is a really profound
Mhm.
and important moment in history. And you're absolutely, right. And I really respect you for doing that. And I just have to say that I've had some clients that have been younger. People that are educated, people that are brilliant, people that have been talking about, well, we didn't actually land on the moon. Or, they're talking about some of these conspiracy theories, as you mentioned, like they just found it themselves. Like this is the first go around. But
Mhm.
right now it's just, I think we are at a tipping point, and we will be moving back from that
Sure hope so.
pseudoscience. And unfortunately, it might be seriously, we might, you know, it's going to be a rough
Oh,
road. I know. Ha. And the clouds parted
yeah,
and
the
the
sun
eagle
comes
sang.
down and all of a sudden a song comes out. Ah,
I know. Dun, dun. And yeah, I mean,
look at hope, Erica.
oh my Lord, I'm telling you, but I think you are right. I think for all the negative, there is going to be some casting off of, things that were not serving us, that we allowed, like you mentioned earlier, the scientific community kind of turning its back, like
Mhm.
people did, even with the UFO topic. It's like okay, this is just a fringe topic. We're not going to take what is really going on behind the scenes seriously, and
Right.
understanding the way that can be used as a gateway or to manipulate
Mhm.
people and to push them down these dark paths of distrusting, what they're seeing and all of this. And so I think you're right. Thank you for giving me hope tonight.
I think we need to have some empathy. And I think that's another thing that's been missing. People like to be right and they like to belittle people who don't think like they do. I came from a very gullible world, believing in a lot of stuff that now I know is nonsense. I think we need to understand why these people are in the belief cycle that they're in, and I think we need to help them, and we need to have communication. And you know what? Those people can help us too, because it's not, we're talking about the youth, and I know you aren't necessarily down on the youth, Erica, but I mean, the youth can explain a lot, help us. I'm 63. Come and help me. Come explain this stuff to me. I am not the end all be all. I just happen to know that there is some history behind some of this stuff. And please come in with a new perspective and help me out with it. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with all the different cultures all around the world coming in and explaining their culture and explaining what's going on. And let's get the reasoning behind it. And I'm going to give you one example. Um, Very good friend of mine, a couple of friends of mine run a podcast called Squaring the Strange, and Ben Radford, Celestia Ward are the hosts. So they do all sorts of interesting podcasts. They have one on toilets, a ghost in toilets in some African country. I can't remember which one right now. I don't know if you've heard of this topic. Jack,
Wow.
did I just
No.
stun you? Okay, so there's this group. They were making the news in this African country about toilets having ghosts, all right, in the women's bathroom. And you say to yourself, oh, that's ridiculous. But what was actually going on is the women, when they finally started investigating, and this is something Ben Radford talks about, when they started investigating it, they found out that the women's bathrooms are like just holes in the ground toilets, far away from the factory they were working in, no heat. They're just awful, horrible conditions. So what the women did is they started saying there's ghosts in the toilets and we can't use the toilet, so therefore we cannot work, as a way of rebelling and bringing media attention to the fact that they had unsafe, unclean, awful bathrooms. And people were like, wait a minute, what kind of condition are you putting these women in? And so they used it to their advantage. So having empathy and understanding the story that these people had was a way of bringing about change in these women's lives and having them have clean and working bathrooms. And there's one other example. I think it's also from the same podcast, Squaring the Strange. They talked about, I don't remember if you remember, it was in Iceland or Finland. They have elves, little people. Do you remember? This made the news. Everybody was talking about it. They were trying to put a road in this country, in this community. And the people, the locals said, you can't do that. It's going to harm the little people. It's going to
Oh,
harm the elves.
yes. Yep.
Sounding familiar?
Yeah.
You can't do that. It's going to, they're right off the side of the road. You can't do that. And the world just mocked them, just absolutely mocked them. But then when it gets down to it, as Ben Radford was explaining, the thing wasn't about, they didn't believe in little people and elves. They were worried about the environmental impacts of putting in this road in this place that they wanted to build it. It was, some super fun, throw money at a project kind of thing. And it had nothing to do with little people and their belief, but they just said that to bring the media attention in so that they would say, we don't want a road here this is not environmentally a good thing to do. You're going to have to do something to the side of the mountain, and I don't even remember now. But the point is, let's have a little faith in humankind. Sometimes people say and do things for reasons that aren't what you expect. And if we have some sympathy, I think we'll have a better understanding. Same with these women who are being taken advantage of by grief vampires. These people are not stupid, naive people. Yes, they may be willfully ignorant because the information about psychic mediums has been out for decades. I mean, back to Houdini, but still, so, and they're not looking into it. So willfully, yes, but these are people in grief in some of the worst times of their life. Psychic detectives, your child has been abducted, is missing, and the police are not getting leads, and your child is out there somewhere. I could see them turning to a psychic because they're desperate.
Right.
And in some cases, they're doing it because it attracts the media to the attention to their missing child or missing person. That's what happened on a lot of the Sylvia Browne, Montel Williams shows. Those parents would go on there just to get, their child has been gone for 10 years, and they used it for media attention because they haven't gotten any satisfaction. And where is their child now? So, come on, give these people a break. Life is hard. And let's have a little empathy.
That's really amazing. I mean, and you kind of opened my eyes in that area. I mean, it's just, using that as something strategic, to get media attention to help a cause, to help a really good cause. And that the podcast that you're talking about sounds absolutely fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It is really good. I've never missed one. You have is there questions from people who are asking? I have no idea. I just see the line moving, so people are talking to each other, obviously.
You know what? I just have to say, and I just want to give a shout out to everybody that is here tonight. Some of you have been guests on the show before, but we have such a great community of people from all over that just understand and have been at different places where they believed things that, like I have. I mean, I went down rabbit holes, I learned, and I try to speak out on that. And a lot of people that are here tonight are doing the same thing and are just incredible. So I feel very lucky, even though I've never met most of these people in person. It's great to have that community. So I know that Steve wants me to ask you another question about elaborating on which techniques medium Tyler Henry employs in his popular TV show. And that's what you were mentioning a little teeny bit earlier, right? Was Tyler Henry?
Well, I was talking about Matt Fraser.
Okay.
But I am somebody who's been following Tyler Henry since he started in 2016. So yeah, I can talk a lot about him. So Steve, you want to know what techniques he's using? He is, okay, so all over my YouTube channel has Tyler Henry stuff. Tyler Henry is, when he is, okay, here's what I think. You ready? You guys sitting down out there? I'm about to drop the bomb on everybody. What's actually going on? Tyler Henry is a TV show, and he's kind of, they needed somebody young who didn't have baggage, somebody who'd been doing, who'd made a bunch of mistakes and so on. And so they kind of needed this medium because it made a lot of money. I mean, he probably made 10 million a year or something. I don't know. But Tyler Henry was brought into this world. He was just some guy who was working at like a shop in someplace in California, smallish town, who was doing card readings and stuff. He wanted to be a hospice nurse. He's very kind and empathetic kind of personality, very innocent seeming. He probably would have been a very good hospice nurse. So what happens is they created this character and they brought in Tyler Henry, and then everybody just embraced him. Now, he at the time said he didn't know who any of these celebrities are. I call BS, but I don't know a lot who these celebrities are either. But what happens, Tyler Henry drives up to the house. His mother drives him up to the house where he's going to give a reading. Knock, knock, knock. They open the door. Inside, there's a camera crew already in there filming Tyler. Tyler has a camera crew with him. They're filming as he walks into the house. And his reaction, whether he knows the person or not, on the show Hollywood Medium, who knows? He may know him, he may not. I've seen him say, "Oh my gosh, it's Nancy Grace." And I love you, Nancy Grace. You know, so sometimes he knows the person and sometimes he has no idea who they are. And that's fine. So then what happens is the show cuts to them sitting on the couch in this beautiful manicured home with they're having this conversation, and suddenly Tyler Henry is able to know all this personal information about a person, and it's like amazing. But what we're missing is that there is a time before Tyler Henry sits down on that couch. I've been in TV situations. My partner, Mark Edward, was on lots of different TV shows and things. So I actually sat there and I know what's going on. There's a lot of downtime. They got to get the lighting right. They got to get the makeup right. They got to get the sound right. They put on the microphones on these people. So all Tyler Henry has to do is take his little magic device here into the bathroom for just, I got to have just a quick break. And you go into the bathroom just before you go on and you read the celebrity's Wikipedia page, you walk out, suddenly he knows them. Whereas he didn't know who they were before, he's introduced to them, he goes, sits down, boom, there's a hot reading. So Tyler Henry is also really good at the long pause. And most psychics talk really fast and they're trying to get a lot of information in there. But what Tyler Henry is doing is he does this thing. I have a cat that's trying to.
I just heard that.
You hear, she's like, I want in. It's Tyler Henry's voice from beyond. No. So what Tyler Henry does is he has this long pause where he's talking and he says to people very sympathetically, you know, that's what your father is trying to tell you. And it's really awkward because as humans, we want to continue the conversation. And so what happens is the subject, the target, the sitter, they're called sitters, interrupts and starts telling them, yeah, my dad would have said that. You know, absolutely. My dad was the kind of person you're up. So Tyler is okay with stopping and then just letting the sitter fill that in. He's very unusual that he does this. He also does things that are from other mediums. He's like a created character. Like if you were to take somebody and say, hey, here's $1 million, you're going to be our new medium on the TV show. How are you going to do this? And he goes, well, I don't know. And he starts looking into what mediums in the past have done, you know, with the psychometry where he's, you know, suppose he's not doing automatic writing. He's scribbling on pieces of paper. Give me a break. And so that's what's happening. But now when Tyler Henry does, he just did a Netflix show called Live from the Other Side. Let me throw something at my cats. I'm not going to get her. I'm just telling her to back off. She's trying to get in. So Tyler Henry did this Netflix show called Live from the Other Side. And they make a big deal out of the fact that he doesn't know who the people are. He walks into the stage, everything's dark, and they turn on the lights, and suddenly there's Tyler Henry meeting some Netflix somebody. I don't know who these people are. He doesn't know who they are. They're nobodies. But the thing is that he's got 5 people sitting on the couch, the celebrity and their friends and family. So I think it's 5 people or 5 people, I think. And what he does is he's cold reading, because when a psychic has more than one person, like if I was a psychic right now and I had you two here, I could be able to do a cold reading on you guys, and I could do it in such a way that it would hit one of you. At least one of you would be accurate about, I would say something about your, you know, how, I don't know, if I was doing a mediumship reading, I could talk about some person in your life whose name is John. They, you know, they really looked over you a lot, something, and there was a heart attack, and it's cold reading. But when you've got 4 people on the 4 people that are all motivated sitters that badly want this reading and believe in this stuff, then it's easy. It's harder to do a one-on-one with somebody. But if you've got 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, and these psychics that do these large audiences, oh my gosh, it's like fish in a barrel. It's so simple. That's cold reading. It's the law of large numbers. God, I feel like I'm talking a lot.
I love it.
No, you're doing great. This is what we envision. Thank you.
I had no idea what you wanted to talk to me about. I'm like, well, we'll see if we can come up with a topic, something to talk about. But that's what's going on with Tyler Henry.
into to Netflix and things like that. The names escape me right now, but there are some pretty interesting fictional movies about media and how they work a circus crowd, and then like just the backdrop is their craft, but it'll show how they like went through their career from the circus to a private practice to being famous and on the cover of a magazine and things like that. That like what the movie's really about is their personal life and struggles and strife, but then just a backdrop is like you're saying that they've got spies in the audience that are
right.
people
They have marks.
Information, and
they're called marks for a reason, because back in the Carney day, they would have somebody come along and tap you on the back of the shoulder and put a chalk mark on the back of somebody's shoulder, and they would become the mark. So when the person went to the next booth, everybody knew this is the guy who's the mark. That's why they get the name. I'm gonna throw cat treats on the other side of them.
Well, speaking of, I'm going to be right back, and I'm going to let you and Jack talk because
Okay, Jack,
my
we'll
dogs are
talk about
causing
Erica.
trouble in the other room. So I will be right back, and just give me a second. It's animal mayhem.
Animal mayhem over here. I'm in the corners.
I love it. I'll be
People
right
are
back.
going, don't abuse your cat, Susan. I'm sure she's a lovely
That's kind of fun. This is what I love about being live, you know?
Live TV, live. We are
Exactly.
live.
Animal mishaps. I'll be right back, you guys.
That's fascinating, though, that they became the mark, the figure of speech from literally mark.
They tap them on the back of the shoulder. Hey, good job, guy. And then there's chalk in their hands, and they just mark the guy.
Yeah. Is that a depiction of the what's it called? That the monster in West Virginia over your shoulder?
Oh, the Montauk?
Yeah.
I said I just came back from that's the what is it called? Montauk? Oh, Mothman. Yeah. I had a really great time in West Virginia. The little conference we did, a lot of it was a lot of different cryptids, and it was super interesting. So that's a Mothman. Yeah, this is just one bookcase. I've got bookcases all around my room. Not that I have time to read anymore, but they're there. And there's James Randi over this shoulder.
Yes.
Right there. And then there's my partner's book, Psychic Blues: Confessions of a Conflicted Medium. I love looking at people's books in the back, or whatever's in the background of people's screenshots of their desk. So I thought I'd put mine back there too. Some of them.
Oh yeah, I was sitting here looking at your Flatwoods monster there. Yeah. So you're traveling and still making some of the conferences and things.
Right. So 2025, I went to, I think, 15 different conferences. One of them was this one, Skepcon in Germany. It was in Regensburg, Germany, the German Skeptics. And I went to I helped run a lot of small conferences around the United States and Canada. This year coming up, I know the big conference is SciCon, and that's going to be in Buffalo, New York in June. It's a 50th anniversary of SciCon. 50th anniversary of Skeptical Inquirer and the conference and in that whole genre. It's the modern scientific skepticism movement started 50 years ago this year. So that's big. We're going to have Bill Nye. We're going to have Mary Roach just signed on. A lot of really big, important people. It should be a lot of fun. And then we've got some small conferences that we're doing around the United States and Canada. I don't have the dates for everything yet, but people are interested in meeting me in person or whatever. Please contact me on Facebook, Messenger, Twitter, wherever, Blue Sky, Threads. I'm quite approachable. If people have questions, if you have readings that you want me to listen to, I'd love to listen to them. All kinds of stuff. I find all of this interesting. So please reach out if people have questions.
And so I want to
Thank
ask
you.
you,
I think the point you make is important too about empathy for people. And I think that also includes skeptics. Like I'm thinking about earlier today that we're encouraged to offer empathy to different demographics, this demographic, that demographic. But that empathy often seems to be withheld from the people that are harmed by the woo peddlers and harmed, and that empathy can be withheld from the people that report on those circumstances. And as you alluded to earlier, Susan, and Erica talked about it earlier as well, you show me somebody that takes a stance against some kind of alleged UFO abduction investigator, or a stance against a psychic, or a stance against some kind of UFO organization. And I'll show you somebody that somewhere in there has a history of being exploited by people like that, is how it came to that, doing that activism. And I think we could be a little more conscious of offering empathy in circumstances like that.
Yeah, I agree.
And
thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, Susan, I could talk to you for so long because there's so many areas.
Did you have any more questions or comments,
Erica? I don't think he can hear you, Erica.
Oh,
Jack,
gosh.
can you not hear Erica?
Can you hear me?
I cannot.
Ah, that explains things.
Oh, okay. You can't hear me.
I can hear you, Erica.
Okay. Uh-oh. Jack can't hear me.
I will reset and then I'll be able to hear.
I'm loving the hand. The cat treats in the hand.
I can read his fortune on the palm.
Oh.
I'm doing a reading of the lines on his hand.
Oh.
I think he's someone who embraces technology. And I think he uses an iPhone. I'm reading that on his hand. And he's from the Midwest, somewhere.
But you're not embracing the technology.
He's embracing his technology, and I know this because of the lines on his hands. Erica, you were going to say something.
Now I'm off on that tangent about the palm reading. But yeah, where was I? There's so many areas that I could talk to you about because over the years, like watching, like in the 80s and the 90s, like you were mentioning, watching Oprah and all these talk show hosts and just like shamelessly, literally like promoting this crap. I mean, we're talking about something real and important, and the next minute, here's Shirley MacLaine in her hot tub with 50 aliens that she's channeling, and it's just like, okay.
The media ate it up. They got views, and that's what it was. Is all these people gravitate and gave them their attention. So of course they continued it. When people start embracing science in the same way and going, "Wow, now that's amazing," and some people do. We need to pull these people away from this nonsense. I'm telling you, Erica, it's disheartening, but I don't think it's as many as we think. I mean, yes, there's a lot of people who believe in the paranormal, but I think really what's going on is much more interesting.
I think so too. And you mentioned Bill Nye, and how he's just got such a great approach to making, science interesting. I mean, there are people that really, want to encourage critical thinking and that have a great way of engaging the audience. And I love that. And I want to ask you too, Susan, because I have, friends that obviously everybody goes through a loss in their life, and you do look to things that give you support just to, I don't know, to make it across that grief process, to make it through the grief process. But what would you say, because I've had conversations with people about this, and it's like, but what if, the person that you're reaching out to is kind of playing you and isn't doing this from a good perspective? And, some of them, their answers shocked me. It's just like, well, but it gets me through, and that's what matters.
Well, it's hard. You've got to move through, and you've got to get through that hard stuff. It's not supposed to be easy. We're not supposed to have people die on us, especially our children. We know our parents will die, but not, I don't want to see the death of that. That's not how, it's not supposed to work that way, where our child goes before us. So I think in some cases, some people need medical intervention. They're on a path where they're not able to get out of bed. They're not grieving through the process correctly, meaning that they're not functioning. They're not able to get to work. They're crying all the time. They're in a cycle that is not healthy, and that they probably need some kind of medication or behavioral like therapy of some sort, or get grief counselors to help them through. So they may have to use some sort of magical thinking in a way to help them. But what's going on with people who are seeing the grief vampires that I'm seeing, like the Tyler Henrys, the Matt Frasers, the Thomas Johns, the Sylvia Browns? So it's unlikely for someone to get a reading from those people, those John Edward, Teresa Caputo. You can't get a reading from them because they don't do private readings. There's no money in it. So what they do is they're doing gallery readings, or they're just doing something on TV, or putting out a video. And yeah, some people get a reading, but your odds are really low that you're going to be that. They're just using you. They're using your grief to promote their product. So maybe you will get a reading. But what happens is that the people who are watching, all the millions and millions of people who are watching these psychic mediums on TVs and on YouTube channels and their podcasts and so on, those people are not going to get readings. But what they do is they go to a lower level psychic, somebody in their neighborhood, or somebody on TikTok or Instagram, and somebody who has, a cheap price, a $20 reading, and no waiting list. You could just go in right away and have a reading with those persons. So what happens is those people are trying to get a hook in you. They're trying to hook you. And what they do is they have communities, and they try to pull you into the community. And those are the ones that are giving the medical and the financial advice. And it might not appear to be my financial or medical advice at first. We think, oh, I would know if somebody's giving me that, but we don't know. And I can give you an example of that. But first, let me finish my thought of what's happening is these people get sucked into these little communities where, the psychic might have 100 followers or 50 followers. And Jack was talking about this earlier, I think, about how they offer, like, go out on excursions to learn how to whatever. This is also what I'm seeing is these low level mediums are selling mentorship. They're selling classes. They're selling, you become a Patreon supporter of theirs. You get into their secret circle or their inner circle, and you get readings all the time. And it's not, then they start telling you that you yourself are an intuitive, or you're a healer, or you're a psychic. So then it adds more classes on, and these all come at a cost. So what is happening, in my opinion, with these psychics is that you've got these big name ones that the media has out there. They're throwing them out as being real, but it's enabling a whole huge ecosystem of people on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Live, YouTube to grieve on, and grift on vulnerable people who are sucked into it, like a MLM, a multi-level marketing. Oh, this looks good, oh, they love bomb you, and they get you in, and you start buying all the supplies, and you buy all the workshops and the books and the podcasts, and then you go to seminars. This is what's happening. And I think it's happening, the flat earth, the UFO, all of that. It's kind of like, you need to be one of us, and being one of us costs money, or you have to be you're helping them out somehow. If you're not giving them money, then you're giving them, like, by sharing their stuff and by endorsing them, you're somehow increasing their livelihood. So let me give this example about health, and people, hopefully this will resonate with you. You know you shouldn't take financial advice from people, and you know that you shouldn't take health advice from people. But I've got videos up on my channel. These are private videos that I have. I mean, they're public, but they're private. I attended a different readings, and I did, in this one woman's case, I did one, and it's called Operation Dill Pickle. And it was a woman, her name is Lady Phyllis. And she has this little community of women. And what they're doing is they meet often, maybe a couple times a week. And these people come to her events. And once you've read the person one time, then you have enough information to read them the next time. It's a hot reading. And it becomes somebody like a therapist, but it's not really a therapist, because the psychic really isn't licensed or has any real skill. They want to keep you there. So in this case, what was going on is, and I have recordings of this, where they're offering to give you health screenings. And there's a lot of psychics out there who do this. They look at you and they say, I'm getting something in your stomach, something in intestinal. Are you not sleeping well? I don't think you're drinking enough water. They give you stuff that's kind of innocuous. It's not really, they're not saying you've got cancer all over your body. They're saying, you're something wrong with your foot. Have you been having problems with your foot, Erica, lately? Those kinds of things. She goes, how about your lower back? I'm getting problems with that. So what they do is they're saying these things to these women. But what is happening is the psychic's in a position of authority. They are hearing messages from beyond, right? So these are people who have authority over the person who's getting the reading or who's watching these readings. Now, if Erica, I said to you that I was a medium and I'm looking at you and I see that you're starting to have some problems with your lower back, and I think there's something wrong with one of your feet. It's starting to give you some trouble. I think you almost tripped the other day. And I think if you started getting a little more sleep and you were drinking more water, I think you would be in a better case. And maybe you should go to your doctor and just have them take a look at those in your intestines, because there's see, it doesn't sound really harmful. But what's going on is, in my mind, I'm thinking, if you have just gone to a psychic who's had a look at you, and the only thing they find wrong with you is some problems with your lower back, some problems with your foot, maybe some intestinal problems, that'll all clear up if you sleep better and if you get more water, then what they're saying to you is everything else is good. So I don't know about you, but mammograms are not my favorite thing to do. So colonoscopies, not on my list of things. I'm like, yay, I get to go for my colonoscopy. Right. These are things that are not fun. Some places are they're just really awful, but they're important things we should be doing. Mammograms especially. And so what happens is, if you've just got a medium that's giving you a look over, you might need to go get your mammogram or your colonoscopy or your prostate checked or whatever. But the medium's already told you everything else is good. They didn't see anything wrong. So it's by omission what these people are doing. And so the woman or the man who's getting the reading, it's mostly a woman, is going to say, I can put off my mammogram this year, or my colonoscopy, or my prostate, whatever, they can put it off, because psychic Joanne over here, she just told me everything's good except for my foot, and I need to get more sleep and drink more water. So they're more likely to put things off, because the alternative is actually going and getting these tests done, or taking it seriously. Like you say, maybe you're starting to be short of breath, and things are happening in your life. You feel like, I should go get this checked out. My mom had heart conditions herself, and I feel like I'm having these kinds of problems, but the psychic didn't mention it. So I'm probably okay. I could put it off till the summer, or I could put it off for a year. And they do. And I think that's what's happening, that we're not focused on, because it's a mission. And I see this in these readings. And as I said, I have lots of videos of this where they're saying stuff that is meant to be like, don't worry about that house. I think you should be fine. Don't sell it, or make sure you sell that house, or whatever, or don't move, or do move, or break up with this person, or don't break up with that person, or don't trust these people in your life that are very close to you right now. They don't know what's the best for you. They're helping you make decisions that are financial, medical, and personal, that they shouldn't be helping you with, because it's unethical, they're unlicensed, and they have no business doing that kind of thing, but they're doing it. And people are they're saying, "Oh, thank you so much." They're, "I love you so much," psychic Joanne or whatever. It's really a problem, and the media doesn't look at it from the perspective I have. In fact, I think I'm the only one that has this perspective. But 10 people watch me. I don't know. But the thing is that it's dangerous. It's not the psychic that's on TV that's the danger. It's that they're enabling. And so, Eric, I totally did not answer your question, which is, I think that it depends on the situation. I had a woman reach out to me who's a therapist, and she said that one of the men in her care had lost his wife a few years ago. Not lost her, like she didn't like leave her on a trail or anything, or she's hiding behind the couch. She died like 4 years before, and he hasn't gotten over the grief, and he's just very unsociable. But he found a group online that is a grief group that is a mediumship, like this helping parents heal kind of thing. And what's going on is they bring in mediums, and they get readings and so on. And she asked me, "What do I do? What do I do?" He won't listen to me when I tell him that this doesn't make sense. Is there a video I should show him? Is there a lecture? Can you talk to him? I said, if the guy is probably in a group of people who are all in the same situation, widowers, and they're talking to mediums, he's probably okay. It's when the psychic tries to pull them out of that group, that's when it gets more dangerous. But if he's in a group, they tend to be a little more skeptical, and he has at least an outlet. And then I said, the guy, why don't you advise him to get a puppy? Because if he gets a puppy, he's going to be exhausted, and he's going to be tired, and he's going to have somebody to come home that loves him with unconditional, and he's going to be exhausted. He's going to take that puppy out and take it. It's going to have to get training and walks and stuff like that. And he's probably going to meet a really nice widower who lives down the street, and everything's going to be fine. And so that's what I advise this woman who is telling me that she knows this guy is really into it. But the guy needs to be broken out of that cycle. And isolating him is probably not a good thing. And also telling him that psychics are not real and that they're just there to prey on you. He's not going to listen to her. And he's going to stop seeing her as a therapist. And what he probably needs to be doing is continue with this therapy and get a puppy.
That's great advice, actually.
Everybody should get a puppy. I don't have one. My cats, I'm throwing treats. Seriously.
That's a lot of treats. I'm telling you.
I'm only throwing a couple in, and it calms you down for a few minutes. And so I'm good until I run out of treats, and then we got problems.
That is so awesome.
That's a really interesting point, though, of the omission can be the relevant point.
Mm-hmm.
If the lady at Casadega tells me I'm good to go, and I leave thinking, oh, thank goodness, I don't need to worry about that health care, and she didn't say anything about my ear that's been killing me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can stop your insurance this year because you can't afford it anyway. So I guess I don't need my insurance coverage this year. I'll pick it up in a few years.
Yeah.
I've watched I had a friend that got pulled into paying for a psychic, and that did, but it was more than just like a casual, I'm going to go, just get my cards read and things like that. It was this person really targeted her and ended up bilking, tens of thousands of dollars out of her. And it was really horrific to watch, how people do prey on that. And going back to the UFO world, I've talked a lot about being at different conferences and seeing, this group of very vulnerable people that probably that need help in a lot of different ways, or need a community or an outlet, a puppy. And, they're being pulled into puppy.
People are going to be adopting puppies right all of a sudden after this. They watch this and go, I need a puppy.
Go adopt. Go to your shelter, adopt a puppy. Everybody loves that. But I mean,
or an older puppy, an older dog.
Yeah, yep, exactly. But to see the way, it's like you're a special human being and you're getting this message from the, Palladians, and your child is ill because of, A, B, C, and D. And it's just like, it is horrific. And it
Mhm.
does, I feel the same way about you. I never want anybody to be victimized. I mean, to be like you do. I'm very, Jack feels the same way. And that's why we've been so outspoken with some of the things that we talk about. And it's great to have you on the show and then to see what you're doing to really, really help people,
Oh,
because
it's
we need
crazy
it right
world.
now.
Crazy world over here.
It sounds like it. I love this. And I hope you'll come back sometime because I
Oh,
can
you
think
guys
of,
have been really interesting. I really did. I hadn't met you before. I hope I run into you in person somewhere. But
it'd be
I don't
fun.
think I'm getting to Florida anytime soon, Jack. Maybe not. I don't know. But maybe, you guys should come to one of the conferences.
That
There,
sounds like a blast.
SciCon is just coming around the corner in June.
I could definitely see being in touch with you as a resource for expanding frontiers, and I really appreciate your time. It's been better than I had hoped it would be,
Oh,
even.
that's
And
nice.
that's saying a lot because we knew
Oh,
it was
really?
gonna be great.
And I've got cat treats for everybody who's here. Do we answer all the questions, or I can look at the chat and I will go through it and answer any questions that people ask that
Yeah, I
didn't
appreciate
get
that, and and again, everybody, thanks for everybody in chat. Thanks for listening to the show, and make sure you click subscribe and like, and and follow Susan. I mean, we need to, again, we're just creating a bigger community and getting information out that's really important for all of us. And so, Susan, one more time, just tell us where everybody can find you, and we've got
everywhere.
your
I'm
links in
everywhere.
the show.
I use my name Susan Gerbic for pretty much everything, or S Gerbic. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Threads. You can find me on uh, Blue Sky. I'm mostly active on Facebook. You can send me emails. YouTube, Psychics Explained, all that kind of stuff. I meant to ask you guys. I got to talk to you about FOIA because maybe off camera we'll talk about FOIA because I've got some interesting stuff I want to do with FOIA. But
Oh,
yeah, please approach me, people, because we're a community and we've got to grow because we got to fight back. And the only way we're going to fight back is if we're together. It's not going to take one individual. There's no more James Randys out there. We all have to be together, and maybe we can make up a James Randi if we get enough of us together with all our skills.
I love that, and compassion.
Mhm.
And yeah, a cohesive community. I love it. Thank you so much, Susan, for being here. And I know Jack would love to talk to you about FOIA. So we look forward. He's
that's
excited.
what I find real helpful about Wikipedia actually is with my many FOIA requests on an individual, it's often right there, their date of birth, date of death, relevant information. I still have to find an obituary, but it cuts a lot of the work to just be able to, look at Wikipedia. But Erica, thank you for facilitating.
Yeah,
And yeah,
thank you.
I would be happy to collaborate on some FOIA work. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. This has been a great start to my
Yeah.
weekend. So
Thank you,
thank
guys.
you.
I really appreciate the invite. So yeah, reach out to
Absolutely.
me if you want me back on again. I'm free
Oh,
next
yeah. We've got your number, sister.
week. Yeah,
Look
well,
out.
okay. I don't
Thank
answer
you.
my phone anymore, so.
Thank you very much. And everybody, I just want to tell everybody out there, just, yeah, we've got this community. I love it. We're going to keep growing. And I want to give uh, my thoughts to people in Minneapolis tonight is what I would like to say.
Stand firm.
So,
You
we
guys,
we
come
are
on,
a
you rock.
community and we care about other people and kindness and compassion. And so we are going to get through all of this. So anyway, there's my thoughts. So thank you guys very much. Everybody have a wonderful weekend and we will talk to you soon. Thanks guys. Take care.